So, what if I told you that the one thing that could change everything in life was connected to your gut? From your mood, your energy, to your clarity and confidence. Today's conversation, I won't say her name just yet, but she's going to talk to us about healing from the inside and out. And if you've been searching for the missing link in your health journey, this just might be it. Hold on for one moment after this, and we'll get right to it.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you for tuning in today. We have a special guest. We got something that's going to, we know it's going to change your life, right? And I have none other than Miss Jatasha Harris. Thank you very much for coming on to the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Sure, no problem. So, as I'm talking about your gut, right? A lot of times we talk about trust your gut feeling and things like that, we don't always understand what that really means. So, can you express that just a little bit? What it might mean to trust your gut?
Absolutely. Yes, that expression is used loosely. Trust your gut. But when you really do a deep dive and dig down and see what that actually means, you realize your gut controls everything. Your gut is the center of your health. And that conversation is just now, within the past 10 years, starting to be more relevant. A lot of times, people would deal with different health issues, and most people are treating symptoms, but no one really understands and knows what the root cause of the issues are. And so, most recently, that conversation has come up, and people are now amazed at what's happening, what they're learning, what they're finding out, and that's what we're doing. We're just educating people on alternative ways and getting to the root of their health issues so they can live a long lasting life and enjoy a good quality life without being on medication.
So, a lot of times, because of the hustle and bustle, we're not paying attention to what we're eating, right? Sometimes we just want to throw something in our mouth real quick and keep it moving. And so, because of that grind, that daily grind, the stress and those type of things, we're not as focused as we probably should be, right? So how concerned should we be, especially if we're in a fast-paced situation that we find ourselves in most of the time?
Yeah, so we should be very concerned what we're putting in our mouth, because a lot of times, right, especially now from 20, 30, 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is on the move. No
Mm-hmm.
one wants to wait things out any longer. People want
Right.
microwave results.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look, I call it restaurant row. I mean, there's a restaurant on every main street or Central Avenue or Martin Luther King Boulevard in every city around the world.
Right.
And you got your choice of McDonald's, Bojangles, Chick-fil-A's.
Mm-hmm.
You got all the restaurants that you can go and grab and pick something up. You're not asking any questions about the ingredients. You're eating it and you're going about your business. Well, a lot of the stuff that we're eating is not healthy for us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is not what we think it is. The soil that we're getting, even for people who are vegan and vegetarians, the soil that we're getting the fruits and vegetables from are coming from soil that's nutritionally bankrupt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we're not getting all the good things that we think we're getting. In the grocery stores, by law, they have to put the herbicides and insecticides and
Right.
pesticides all over those things to keep the bugs off of it, but we're injecting those things in our body. So unless you're living in a bubble, you are going to be exposed to things, and you have to eat. So how do you still survive in a world where the food is not healthy for us and you still can thrive? And so that's the conversation. That's really the message that we've been getting out there. There is help and hope out there. You just got to tune in.
So I'm challenged because you said something about restaurant row, but what about restaurant week? So, they encourage us to go out there and eat, right? But even if you think about it as well on our daily 9 to 5, things like that, we go to conferences and seminars and webinars and they have food there. We may not always have the option to pay close attention. So whether we're not worried about the sugar and whatever those things that might be challenging, how can I adjust in that situation if the options are not available?
Yeah, great question. So really, you really can't. And I mean, that's just the answer. You cannot adjust unless you just don't eat and don't touch it. And we know that's unrealistic. So you need something in your body. You need some things in your body to help you along the way, to help detoxify the body,
Hmm.
to get rid of all of the things that you're putting in it that's not good for you, all the parasites and stuff that we get in, all the chemicals that's being fed to a lot of these animals because they have to sell
Hmm.
the meat,
Hmm.
but the animals may not be mature.
Hmm.
And so they inject them with things to help them grow faster and to put them on the shelf so we can buy it. And that stuff is transferring to our system.
Hmm.
So it's hard to know which stores are doing that. It's hard to know which supermarkets are doing it. You don't know. So you need something for not only preventative measures, but you need something also for restorative measures if you've been impacted by the things that you've been eating, of
Hmm.
course, the pollution in the air and so many other things. And that's not just, meats and fruits and vegetables. That's
Hmm.
also the additives, like the sugars
Mm.
inside the cakes and the candies, and, which a lot of people now are dealing with. You see a lot of younger people with diabetes,
Mhm.
hypertension, cholesterol issues. That's all attributed, not all, but most attributed from the foods that we're eating, the things that we're drinking, the snacks that we're taking in as well.
So how can I change my mindset towards it? Because, again, it's marketing, right? It is what we see all day, every day. That's why I threw in real quick restaurant week because we see that, right? Or we go to those night markets, all those moments, and or vacation, right? So, we want to have these experiences, So how do I change my mindset to say, hey, you know what? I need to stay committed to this change in lifestyle because sometimes we don't have that availability and we don't have a mindset to stay there. So how can I change that mindset?
Yeah, so there's a lot of research being done. There's companies out there that have now gravitated to just the whole gut health message.
Hmm.
There's a lot of celebrities that are endorsing products that focus on gut health. And, myself and others that I'm connected with, we are partnered with a company that specifically focuses on gut health.
Hmm.
The beautiful thing about the company, and we're the first and only company as of now to have something to help a person in the entire body,
Mm.
as again for preventative purposes and restorative purposes. And so that's really it. If you go to, and I can give you some references, but if you go to pubmed.gov
Hmm.
or you go to NIH.gov, that's National Institution of Health, or you go to
Hmm.
CDC.gov, that's Center for Disease Control. When you go to places like that and you just type in gut health, or there's a term called microbiome, that's the
Hmm.
center of your health. And that focuses on gut microbiome. And so if you put those terms and those words in, you'll see so much information. Even you just
Hmm.
Google, you'll see a lot of information on the whole gut health message. So just educating yourself, but connecting with companies that's already talking about this.
Hmm.
And then not only just talking, but have a solution too. And that's where we come in at. We not just talk about it and educate, but we also have a solution to help people. And the testimonies have been absolutely amazing.
So I don't have the money either. Sometimes we think that in order for us to eat right, we need money. So is that true? Like, do I need to be rich? Do I need to be a millionaire today?
You know what? You actually don't. As a matter of fact, if you do the math,
Hmm.
most people spend more on Starbucks a day than it costs to actually put things like this in your body to help you.
Hmm.
And I tell people, you're going to pay. So I'm not going to even make you think that you can do this for free. You're going to pay on the front end or the back end. The front end, you're going to pay less
Hmm.
because you're doing things for preventative purposes. On the back end, you're going to pay more because now you're at the doctor. Now you're going and paying copays to figure out what's going on. You're going to all the different specialists, and specialist copays are totally different from the generic, regular doctor that your regular physical that you may go to, or your general doctor you may go to.
Hmm.
So you are going to pay. You're just going to pay less. We have people who are trying to do well in their health prior to joining our system and our program. They have said they spent $600 to $700 at a farmer's market
Hmm.
a month, just trying to get the right things and then it together, knowing how much is needed in the body in order to be able to eat right. And they haven't had great success with that either. So
Mm.
you will spend working with a company that's focused in this area far less than you going to a farmer's market, and of course far less than going to a specialist after now you have all these health issues.
Wow. So I'm gonna be honest with you. There are some of us that's probably, hey, I feel okay in my body, right? I have adjusted, and I see it every day. But is that the right mindset to have as we keep moving forward and for everything that we're eating? So should I stay content with where I am, or should I look for something different?
Unfortunately, we're in a day and age where it's no longer if, it's when.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not if I'm going to get sick, it's just when that time is going to come if you don't do something ahead of time. Um,
Hmm.
I will give you an example for myself. My husband and I, he and I don't have any health issues. But
Hmm.
that was not what our motivation was, why we really took a dive into this whole health and wellness arena. It's
Hmm.
because we lost both of our parents before the age of 60
Wow.
because of health issues. And we watched them firsthand decline. Had we known what we know about this whole microbiome gut health message,
Hmm.
this is the very thing that could have kept them here.
Hmm.
Because we know people now who have the same things our parents had, and they were able to do something about it, focus on alternative measures. And now they're actually either no longer with those things that our parents had, or their numbers have adjusted, have come
Hmm.
down, they're doing much better, it's manageable. So
Hmm.
this is the stuff we get to see on a regular basis. And for the past 3 years, that's what we have been laser focused on. And again, I tell you, it's just amazing. The testimonies are
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. When I say testimonies, I'm talking
Hmm.
about, and we don't make any medical claims or guarantees. I don't want anybody to come and say, "Oh, you said."
Right.
But when you see people with who've been on blood pressure and cholesterol medication for
Hmm.
20 plus years off of it now,
Hmm.
people who've had diabetes, no longer on metformin, or A1C levels have dropped from a
Hmm.
12 to a 4. When you see children who are labeled nonverbal autistic speaking, all of those different issues and so much more is all connected to the gut. So when I say the gut
Hmm.
controls everything, not some things, and it's not me just saying it. Father of medicine, Hippocrates, he said it over 2,000 years ago, and it still remains true today. But he
Wow.
also said, let food be thy medicine, or else medicine will become thy food. And I
Hmm.
don't believe any of us on this podcast or listening in want to be on medication for the rest of our lives. We would
Hmm.
love to be able to come off of it, or better yet, not even get on
Right. Right.
it.
But I'm gonna tell you. I mean, so if my family members have, you know, we have a history of cancer. We have a history of high blood pressure. We have a history, like keyword is history. So I'm almost accepting what my fate is. A lot of people have that in their mindset, right? And that's just how we've been conditioned to some degree. So again, I'm talking about changing the mindset, because a lot of this is changing the mindset to not be satisfied by where we are. So even with that, how did you break free from that mentality? Because you said your parents, whatever those challenges might have been, and it could have been a historic thing. So how did you even change your mindset towards that, going a little deeper for either you or your husband, or even one of your, people that you've spoken about?
Yeah. So when you start learning, because of course, with my mom, she passed away from heart disease.
Hmm.
So now naturally, I'm going to go to my physicals and make sure they give me the extenuating test. So that way I'm not, a red flag, or I'm not waiting to the last minute to find out that I'm dealing with that.
Hmm.
But when you start to learn more and more about your health, it's not hereditary, or it's not,
Mm.
historical, it's environmental. Is how was your parents
Mm.
cooking in the household? How did you learn how to cook? And then you're doing the same thing in your home. So it looks like it's hereditary. No, it's just what you've learned and you implemented the same thing in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So, like my mom was a smoker, I'm not a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? My mother had high blood pressure. She was dealing with a lot of stress. I'm not dealing with that. I make sure that I don't have stress going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that you have to do, you have to change. If not, you are going to end up in the same place. So when you recognize and realize, no, diabetes is not something that runs in the family, it's happening because the way we all cook.
Mm.
We all learn to throw that lard in there and all that extra stuff that, we grew up on. So it's about changing your mindset, learning, understanding either on your own, doing some research, or finding a company or companies that are doing the research, and jump on the bandwagon with them as well.
So before I ask you to share the organization that you keep referencing, right? I just gotta share something real quick. You make me want to go into my closet right now, my cabinet, and make me throw out that can of Crisco that or Wesson or whatever oils we were using back in the day. But please share with us the organization that you keep referring to. That has changed your mindset moving forward as far as taking care of your health.
Absolutely. So the company that I'm referencing that my husband and I were introduced to 3 years ago, and that we're partnered with, is called Love Biome. And that company is started and founded in 2022. However, the some of the owners of the company were the original owners of there's a company called Tahitian Noni International,
Mm.
and that started back in the 90s. And that company started from a fruit called noni. And so noni fruit is grown outside of the US. So you'll find it in places like Tahiti, French Polynesia, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Puerto
Mm.
Rico, places like that. Well, that fruit is reported to help people remove cancer, diabetes, and hypertension out of your system.
Mm.
Okay. So the owners back in 2017, the owners of our company currently, they sold their portion of the Noni Juice Company,
Mm.
right? Because they wanted to stay laser focused on plant life. And so in 2017 to 2022, their mindset was, if that noni fruit can help people remove cancer, diabetes, and hypertension, then there
Mm-hmm.
must be other fruits and vegetables in the world that can help people in the entire body.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went on a journey, looked at 400 plant sources, and only chose and perfected it down to 84.
Mm.
So 84 ingredients, fruits, vegetables, and herbs that help with the body's center of health, the gut. And there's lots of stuff out there,
Mm-hmm.
but there's specific ones that help specifically for the gut.
Mm.
Okay. And so that's how it started. So 2022, they opened up the doors in February. We got started in April, literally 2 months later, 3 years from now. And they didn't fully launch the company until September of 2022. And
Mm.
so fast forward from then till now, we're in 55 countries
Wow.
and we're growing. We're on target to be in 120 countries in the next 3 years.
Wow.
So it's not because we have this big old beautiful branding marketing program. It's
Mm-hmm.
because they started in their backyard, meaning sharing this with people in their area who continue to share it. They got results. They saw the results. People have families in different parts of the world. They jumped on board. And so the thing is that it doesn't matter, again, your age, your nationality, none of
Right.
that stuff matters. We all have a gut. And that's the common thing. And because all humans have a gut, then it's controlling everything in the body. And people are dealing with issues all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people in places like Okinawa, those are the people that live in the blue zones, that live to 100+ years old. So they looked at that and said, well, how are they living like that? And what's separating them from those that are not? And that's passing on at 30 and 40 and 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of what they're eating. A lot of countries don't allow what we allow in the United States, ingredient wise, in the very same product. It
Mm-hmm.
can be whether it's potato chips or whether it's some form of, I don't know, potatoes or rice or whatever in the package form. There's ingredients that's just not allowed. It's actually illegal
Really?
to be able to put it in. So when they looked at all of that, they mirrored that, try to match it, bring all of the good stuff that we need in this program and put
Mm-hmm.
it in 2 packages. Two
Mm.
little packs that look like crystal light packs
Mm.
that you rip open, you put in a 16-ounce bottle of water, you drink it and go about your day. Every single day. It's like a lifestyle product. So
Mm.
it's like brushing your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
you would do this for the rest of your life. Anything that you're taking over the counter, you literally can bag it up, push it to the side. This
Hmm.
gives you all of what's needed for the body to prevent things from trying to come in and break you down, but also to reverse things in the body that's been damaged and not working properly.
Wow. So you said something about marketing, right? I'm gonna backtrack for a second. I think my mentor, which is why I'm talking to you today, Reverend Dr. Mary Moore, is walking marketing, right? This lady, she has accomplished a whole lot in her life, and this is one thing that I think that she has been the most proud about, which is really taking care of her health. And as you stated, coming off of medications, surgeries, all these other things for her husband, things like that. So I think from a marketing perspective, it's almost like going back to marketing originally, word of mouth, examples. You get what I mean? So I thank you very much for coming on because this lady has been phenomenal and she's been a great marketing, she talks to me about it all the time. So if you don't mind, please share that information. Let us know what the website is or where we could even contact her or yourself or whatever it is, so we can understand what this information is and maybe even purchase it and so we can live a healthier life. Because I did see on Instagram the other day, there was some lady that said she was 141 years old. That's a mighty long time. So please, can you share the information?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me just, you mentioned Reverend Moore. We can't even go past talking about any website or phone number until I tell you about this woman. She is such an inspiration
Mm-hmm.
to all of us in the company. I mean, this woman, she is 80, almost 87.
7,
And
right.
she says all the time, going on 40. And it's the truth. She is aging backwards. She started out between her and her husband, they were over 15 plus medications.
Mm-hmm.
They are down to nothing. Even the
Mm-hmm.
husband who had diabetes, he's off of metformin, insulin he was taking. She's off of blood pressure, cholesterol. She was doing butyrol.
Mm-hmm.
She used to have to do leg raises just to walk. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to do that anymore. No more pain. Her sense of smell is back. She couldn't
Mm-hmm.
smell. There was points where she couldn't taste. All of that is back now. Her pH levels are back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
She's not acidic like she was. She's not deficient in iron. I mean, she can go on and on and on.
I
And
know, right?
it's like she's making a song when she talks. I love listening to her. And I've heard her testimony a million times, but it never gets old because there's so many people that you run into on a daily
Mm-hmm.
basis that can benefit from, if not all of what she shares, some of what she shares. They know
Right.
other people. So she is. She tells people in her building that where she lives. She talks to people, and she's an advocate. This woman just
Mm-hmm.
does some amazing things in the city of Philadelphia, and she's sharing it with people all over in governmental positions, local,
Mm-hmm.
you name it, families. She travels. She tells a story where she was on a plane where the plane was on the runway for like 5 hours. They could not get off. There was no air circulating, and she was cool, calm, collected as a cucumber, she says. And people were panicking, and they were looking at this lady like, "Why are you so calm?"
Right. Right.
And it's because she had a product. She
Mm-hmm.
controls her gut.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. She had a fire in her building. They were all going crazy. She had to walk down, I forget, 20, I
Yeah.
believe, flights of steps, cool, calm, collected. And they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Why are you so calm?" I'm taking care of my gut.
Right.
So yes, absolutely. Reverend Moore is absolutely amazing. Love her so much, her and her family.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, to get connected with her, you can go to the website to look at the products. And just so you know what you're looking at, so you're not just going on and trying to click on one thing or the other. The P84 is the name of the gut system.
Mm-hmm.
That's what controls everything in the body. And so if you look and click on other products that's on the screen, those are good as well. Those are
Mm-hmm.
targeted products. They work specifically for areas that you need help in
Mm-hmm.
temporarily, unless you're taking care of the gut. And when
Mm-hmm.
I say temporarily, meaning we have products specifically for people looking to lose weight, people who are dealing with ADD, ADHD, OCD,
Mm.
lack of sleep, depression, people who have a weak immune system, who travel a lot, people who have excess fat around the belly, the back, the arms, the neck. or eat a lot of fried and fatty foods.
Hmm.
We have something for people who are dealing with diabetes. Because believe it or not, and even if you don't have diabetes, and this is a good point to know,
Hmm.
sugar is not healthy for us,
Hmm.
period. Whether you're diabetic or not. Sugar in your hair is alopecia. In your eyes is glaucoma.
Hmm.
In your teeth is cavities. On your skin is eczema. Okay. In your brain is Parkinson's, ADD, ADHD.
Hmm.
And then too much sugar in the body feeds cancer. So we have something that blocks sugar literally in 20 minutes after you
Hmm.
take it. So all of the different targeted products, all the different colors you see on there, those
Hmm.
work amazingly. But the gut system gets to the root of the issues. So P84 is what you need, and then all of the other targeted, you pick what you need based on your situation.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. So
All
do you
right.
want to share the website?
Yeah. So you can go to I can. So it's ICANN lovebiome.com.
Hmm.
And if you want to call, let me give you the phone number to call on. It is 215 920 8604.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's 215 920 8604.
Yes. So of course, everyone that's listening, all this information will be in the show notes. And so you will have direct information to this. So if you're running, if you're walking, if you're driving somewhere, you're in a taxi, whatever, no matter what the situation is, and you're out there and you need this type of information, this will be provided to you in the show notes. But I thank you very much, Jatasha, for coming on to the show today. But I do have one more question for you before I let you go, right? So it's my would you rather question. My world famous would you rather question. So, would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Would I rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Hmm. Now, use your imagination. There's no right or wrong. This is just a fun way to end the show. So, so you can use your imagination.
I'll say a fork in the road.
And why a fork?
I don't know. I guess
You just-
because I'm picturing the way the fork goes.
Mhm.
It leads you to different directions.
Mhm.
Where the doors, I don't know. You don't know what's on the other side. I don't know. I don't know if that's a trick question. I don't know how to answer. I got to think about it more. I'm not sure. You said there's no right or wrong.
It's not. There isn't.
I don't know. I'm thinking about a fork because there may not be an ending.
Hmm.
The door, it's open shut. You don't know what's on the other side. I don't know. That's a trick question. I've never had that question asked to me before.
So I wasn't sure if you come from a biblical perspective. Wasn't sure if because I've heard people come from biblical perspective. I heard people come from a Star Wars, Star Trek perspective on how to answer these. That's why I said there's no parameters. However you decide to choose the answer, because I even had people say, "Hey, I want the doors, but the doors are glass or they're acrylic, so I can see what's behind each door." There's no right or wrong.
Gotcha. Got it. I love it. I love it. Well,
Cool.
thank you. And
Sure.
if you don't mind, if I
Mhm.
can share that website one more time.
Sure.
Okay, it's I can, and I think I had put an extra N in there, so just wanted to make sure I was clear. I can, so it's ICAN.lovebiome.com.
Okay.
It's ICAN.lovebiome, so it's LOVEBIOME.com.
All right. Cool. Appreciate it. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and this was a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing what's next.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I thank y'all very much listening to That Will Nevr Work podcast, and I'll talk to you just a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chism on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?